For Alabama, after losing to Oklahoma last week, your season is on the line against Auburn. And Auburn, despite them, not being in playoff contention, they pretty much are fighting for the right to be bowl eligible. With this being your most hated rival, they would love nothing more but to end your chances of making it to the playoffs with a win in this game. And Auburn's true freshman linebacker, Demarcus Reddick, who has been one of the better true freshman linebackers in the nation. He has 25 tackles, 3 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. He was a top 100 rated player coming out of the 2024 recruiting cycle. He took some shots at true freshman phenom Ryan Williams and quarterback Jalen Milroe. Here's what he had to say.
Ryan Williams is Ryan Williams. I mean, yeah, he's electric. He's all this and that, but in my eyes, he ain't really nobody to me. Ryan Williams is himself. He ain't no big time player to me. Like I said, Bama is a big rival team. Every rival team I played, I never lost to, and I will not lose to Bama while I'm here. I mean, he is a good quarterback. He's fast, but I mean, he's not faster than me. I'm pretty just that. Like, he will not get out that box this week.
Now, what's crazy to me is how this guy says that he's never lost to a rival school when they did lose to Georgia not too long ago, but I guess he just doesn't count that one because either he wasn't starting or he only counts this Alabama game because Alabama, they're in the same state, it's their most hated rival, but whatever. I think that he's biting off a little bit more than he can chew. Because Auburn defensively, like, they got some talent, but I don't necessarily know if they have the personnel to be able to slow down this Alabama and Jalen Milroe led rushing attack. Because one thing about Alabama is that if you don't have the ability to keep him inside of the pocket, that being Jalen Milroe, he is going to get his on the ground. And it's easy in theory to say, oh, yeah, we're going to contain him, we're going to keep him in the box. But once the game gets played, it's a lot difficult to execute that game plan because when you got a guy like Jalen Milroe that's so dynamic with his legs, even when you have guys that keep contained, he can still find ways to find some running lanes and he can still gas you. Now, if Auburn can hold true to what this true freshman linebacker is saying, and they actually can keep Jalen Milroe inside the pocket and limit how many big yards he gets on design quarterback runs, and they force him to become a passer and he can't run at all, then Auburn has a really good chance at winning this game. Because as we saw last week against Oklahoma, when Jalen Milroe can't run, he's an ineffective quarterback because he's not a good thrower of the football. However, I trust Alabama's defense to keep them in this game more than what I did last week against Oklahoma because Oklahoma offensively, I just think that from a personnel standpoint, they're a little bit more talented this year on that side of the football than what Auburn is because Auburn has been a team that struggles to take care of the football. They have turnovers galore. Like, Auburn has found so many different ways to lose ball games this year. It's just crazy that this man Demarcus Reddick is talking trash because if there's any side of the ball that's going to lose the game for Auburn, it's going to be their offense. I don't question if Auburn's defense can get a few stops in this game. I could see them holding Alabama to only 20-24 points, but offensively, Auburn's offense against Alabama's defense, I gotta go with Alabama's defense to win that matchup. Alabama defensively has played some really good football against Oklahoma. It's just that their offense was just so inept that their defense got tired. They gave up some big plays on the ground game, and that was all she wrote. In this game, though, I don't see Auburn's offense being able to do enough to the point where Alabama's defense ends up getting gas like the way they were against Oklahoma last week. I don't expect Auburn to be as dominant running the football on this Alabama front like the Sooners were in week 13. Alabama still has a really formidable defense. And with Peyton Thorne at quarterback, yeah, he can make a few good throws from time to time, but he's a quarterback that really can't be trusted in a game like this where turnovers are at a premium. At least with Jalen Milroe, he only gets in trouble where Alabama asked him to do too much throwing the ball. But when he can be effective as a runner, that opens up the passing game and it makes it easier for him to have success. And also, who the hell does Alabama have? Well, who the hell does Auburn have that's going to be able to stop Ryan Williams? I don't think they got a single player on that secondary that is close to being able to slow down Ryan Williams. And it definitely ain't going to be Demarcus Reddick because he's a linebacker. You're not going to put Demarcus Reddick on Ryan Williams. Come on now. Like, listen, I'm all for good trash talk and billboard material, but I kind of do feel like he's biting off a little bit more than he can chew. And of course, Jalen Milroe responded to these comments. He said, he doesn't even know who this guy is. And it's not really being disrespectful because this man is a true freshman. So, of course, Jalen Milroe doesn't know who he is. But Jalen Milroe is a solid quarterback when he can run the football. I don't see Auburn being able to limit Jalen Milroe's mobility. There's only been a handful of teams this year who have been able to do so. But if they do, then they do got a pretty good chance of pulling off the upset. But I'd rather go with Alabama to win this game than Auburn. I know that Alabama has been inconsistent this year, but Alabama has showed up in their biggest games of the season. Outside of that Tennessee loss, when it comes to must-win games, Alabama always finds a way to get it done. It's just that Alabama plays down the competition. Yeah, Auburn has a losing record, but they're not going to play down the Auburn the way they did against Oklahoma because this is a rivalry game. It just means more for Alabama and Kellen DeBoer. Like it's one thing to have a 3-loss season where you miss out on the playoffs potentially, but it's another thing to have an 8-4 record and you lose to Vanderbilt, you lose to Oklahoma, you lose to Tennessee, and the final week of the regular season, you lose to your most hated rival. This is a game that Alabama has to win, and I trust that they're going to get it done because I just can't trust Auburn. This team just finds new ways to lose every single week. I was shocked that they beat Texas A&M last week. I really was. It was their best game of the season. But even in that one, there were some moments where they kind of had a little bit of luck on their side, like when number 5 dropped that 2-point conversion, which would have sent it to a 5th overtime period. I just don't trust Auburn in this game. With the way they played this season, just finding ways to lose, I trust Alabama to get it done.